Hello, parents. I decided to make a video for a rubric that I'm going to send you soon to help you do your homeschool Friday, Saturday, Sunday leveled reading passages. And I think that we are going to work together this year to make them a much stronger reader, a much more well-prepared reader. We find, and I found with this class and with classes I had last year and the year before and every year, some of our strongest readers are not good at comprehension, and they don't understand what they're reading as well as we think they do. When we hear them reading smoothly and beautifully and they're attacking words successfully, we tend to assume that they're good readers. But then when we give them comprehension tests and they bomb them, it messes up their grade, and then everyone is surprised and disappointed, including the student. But thank you for all you have been doing. You have done a beautiful job. I love getting those seesaw submissions, all the things you do, the creative stuff. I can hear the sound of your voice, how much fun you're having with your child, and your child's attitude shows that they love having time with you. And that is really a huge part of what we wanted out of this. But as the year goes on, you're going to grow weary of this, and you're going to think, well, I can't, my school do everything. My weekends are not what they used to be. But this is an honor. The school is designed to do something very precious. And the more we put into it, the more we get out of it. Don't ever lose sight that if we were to put in a weak amount at home this year, then our students would lose 20% of what other schools are providing for their children, because they have 5 days a week, and we can't really keep up with 4 days a week. But our hope and our belief is that we will exceed doing it this way. I have a long history with homeschooling, and I have seen it exceed impressively and excitingly. And the better job you do, the better job they will do, and the more you will love it, and the more they will love it. So I want you to really get the fullness of it. So let me share my screen. I'm going to send this rubric home with you, and you'll have multiple copies, and I want you to use them every time you do the leveled reading assignment. I think that is, there we go. So I hope you can see that. So in case you don't know what a rubric is a measurement of, are they mastering it? And we really can't come up with a perfect evaluation of how much a student understands about what they read, but I think this one helps give you a consistent look. So we have divided each section of these up into point values, and you need to really get good, practice this, help your child learn the language of it, let them see the scoring, and let them strive to go higher. So the first section is called the text close reading, or text close read. This is something that's done all the way through college, and professors do it, and high school English professors do it. And so the sooner they understand that this is an expectation, the sooner they can grow. So this is where they read the text and they begin to answer the questions, and they don't just pull the answers just right out of their head and think that's good enough. They go to the text and they prove their answer in the text. And so these are talking about highlighting the text and then responding with answers on their written page that reflect what they highlighted. They need to match, and they don't need to copy, but it needs to match. So you can see the different values. So then the next section is comprehension. This is the most uncanny one, I know, because you can really think your child is doing well in reading. They sound beautiful, they're good at attacking words, and they're reading lots of words and chapter books, but sometimes when we check their comprehension, we're very surprised. I think you know that as an adult. I know I do. Sometimes I'll be struggling so much. I'm reading James Joyce right now, who has such a reputation for being one of the most difficult writers of all English literature. And I can read about 2 pages and think, wait a minute, stop. I don't know a word of what I just said. So we have to check our comprehension and work at it. We have to drill on it. As you can see, the highest point value here says students answered comprehension questions correctly and demonstrates an advanced understanding of the text. In order for you to give your child 20 points, please dig into your child and say, why did he do that? Well, why do you think? What would happen? Well, so what would you do? Well, what do you think is going to happen next? You need to challenge. Don't just ask one question and think, check, that's 20 points. Dig, and if they answer the first one, go harder, go deeper. Stretch your child out in this area. This is something that will make them love reading more. They will feel more capable of it every year of their education. And it is just one of the most important parts of this rubric. So the next part was the retell. It chopped off some of it. Well, I've got this copy in front of me. Okay, it says student succinctly sequences and retells the story accurately, referencing the beginning, middle, and end. So you do want your child to actually verbalize, well, the beginning of the story, John got a dog for his birthday. In the middle of the story was the problem. Always in the middle, we need to talk about the problem, because fiction always has a problem. The cute little puppy made a mess of everything, tore up his homework, went to the bathroom on the kitchen floor, barked all night, chewed up mom's favorite shoes, and in the end, tell what happened in the end and how the author gave a solution. So you do want them to use this wording over and over and over. As you can see, the last one that's only worth 5 points says students retell is inaccurate and does not identify the beginning, middle, and end elements of the story sequence, and they cannot verbalize the problem. This is actually something that's going to surprise you. Don't panic. They just have to practice this. You're going to go, oh, I thought they understood it. It seems so obvious. But it is something that you'd be surprised at how much they struggle without a lot of practice. The next section, the making connections. Are you still with me? Am I just blabbering too fast? I'm going to slow down. The student demonstrates and responds by making connections from text to self, text to text, or text to world. This is something that came into the language of educators in the last 10 years, and it did not probably exist when you were in school. But it is very common language now to use in all classes of every grade all the way through college. They need this so much in order to write papers later on, in middle school and high school in particular. Even this year, we need to make connections in order to write a good paper. You read a story, you stop in the middle, you say, what do you think is going to happen next? They have to make connections. They have to say, I know what this is like because I remember one time it happened in my life, or I read another book. So text to text means I'm comparing what I just read to another book I read. Text to self means you're comparing it to something of your own experience. And text to world is possibly something that you heard in the news, or something that you learned in history class, or in or philosophy class, or anything like that. They're connecting it to a world. In other words, it's not just something that could happen in this family. It happens universally. As you can see, the 5-point value, a student responds with inaccurate information, or they don't have any connection. They just go blank on you. They don't talk. Don't get frustrated. Don't badger them. Don't act like, what's wrong with you? Just teach them bit by bit how to be strong in this and let them build confidence. Because at first they're going to look at you with wild eyes like, what? I don't know. You tell me the answer. And it's going to take time. You're going to be tempted to tell them the answer so that you can move on and get to the next task. But give them some thinking time. Don't act grumpy, smile, and give some examples yourself. And then do some of this as you're driving the car, hours later, days later. Say, "Ooh, that reminds me. This book reminds me of that book." And that really helps them to do it. And the last section is grammar. And we already talked about that a little bit, but whenever they write their answers on the sheet that they return, it needs to be on the lines written beautifully. They know we're doing penmanship every day. They know the expectation. If they're doing a sloppy job, they're thinking, well, you don't know the expectation. Should say to them, Miss Snyder knows the expectation that she expects, and you need to follow that one right now. And she's going to be looking at it. So it has to be formed. The letters should be formed properly, neatly. They should not be scribbling, and they must be complete sentences with capital letters at the beginning and end marks. I know it's going to be tempting for them to write it in a phrase, or what we're learning right now in Shirley Grammar, a fragment, but they really need to get good at this to be in second grade. And they are in second grade, and we're working towards being strong third graders one day this year. So we've got to keep our expectations high. And thank you so much. I could never ask for an easier and more really lovely group of parents to have supporting me. So please let me support you in any way possible. Give me a call, give me a text. Thank you. Bye.